Actually, had two different positions.
That's like nothing, like circle
That's
around,
just-
scraps.
It's Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh,
I think everyone's kind of curious what happens.
but like very.
Internship that we started.
Right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the W701 course. This is the introduction to electric drives. So it's a rather very simple course. I'm not exaggerating. I'm hoping everyone will get an A in this course. It's a pre-credit course. There is an associated lab as well in this course. It's W4703. It wasn't offered last year, but it's offered this year. And I would recommend that you definitely take it. Right now, half of the class is registered because this course has a project component, which will basically kind of mirror whatever we do in the lab for the most part. So if you do that lab, you can easily sail through the project. And also, this we'll cover all the theory and the physics and the math of how machines operate in this course. But electric machines is as much an art as it is science. So you can read all the math. A couple of years down the line, you'll definitely forget all of it. I know you've done a whole bunch of courses which you've already forgotten. That'll be the same for this course as well. But if you do the lab, you get a feel for the motor. They'll stick with you. Even if you forget all the theory, you'll always remember some of the concepts you learned in the lab. Things always go wrong in the lab. When things burn, you'll always remember it. So it's a very good learning experience. So even if you don't have the credits to take the lab, you're always welcome to go and attend the lab just for experience so that you get a hand-on experience as to how motors operate. Right. So there are two lab sessions. I think one is today and maybe the other one is tomorrow. If those times do not work out for you, if that's the reason you haven't registered, that's okay. You can do it outside of the lab hours too. Just send me an email and we can figure something out. It's a rather self-explanatory lab. It's extremely safe, very low voltage. There's nothing you can do that will kill you. So you can go ahead and just do the lab alone as well. So just shoot me an email if you're unable to register and you still want to register for the lab. There are a couple of slots still open for it. Okay, so we meet here every Wednesday, Friday, same time, 1 to 2:15, and sometimes I might exceed by a couple of minutes towards the end. If someone has other classes or time conflict, you can always leave anytime you want. All right, we don't take attendance, but there is in-class participation, which I'll get to. But you can come and leave whenever you want. And my name, I should have started with it. I am Siddharth Raju. And I would really appreciate it if you don't call me professor. If you send an email saying, hey, professor or Professor Raju, I won't reply for it. So just call me Siddharth. If you have struggle pronouncing it, it's SID or SYD. And then the organ heart. Right? So as simple as that. Or you can call me by my last name, Raju, but definitely not professor. So you can drop by my office anytime. I typically hold office hours right after class for an hour. That's just the time. I'll definitely be there either in my office or be here if students have questions after class. Outside of those hours, you're always welcome to drop by anytime my door is open. So you can just come by, and even if it's outside of this course, you have some other project you're working on, you want some help, I'm more than happy to help. My background is purely in power electronics and drives, electric drives. You come outside of that or controls a little bit. But other than those topics, I can't help you, unfortunately. But in those topics, I'm happy to help even if it's outside of the coursework. The TA for this course is Kamalesh. He's an extremely brilliant guy, down to earth, very helpful. I personally requested him for being the TA for this course, and thankfully he was assigned. He has mentioned a couple of office hours. If those don't work out for you, just meet with him and let him know, and he'll always be able to accommodate your time. Right? If you have any questions, homework, assignment, whatever, you can either reach out to Kamalesh or you can reach out to me. So outside of these hours that I mentioned, if I'm not in my office when you drop by and weekdays do not work out for you, you go to work or something like that, you can always shoot me an email. We can set up a Zoom meeting. I am open to meeting during even the weekends as well. Not at all times, but sometimes I'll be able to make sure I'll be able to meet up with you. So the textbook, it's a rather quite expensive textbook, $144, I think, last I checked. So don't buy it. I'll post all the PDF chapters on Canvas, so you'll have access to it. I know at the end of the semester, some students would like to post all the course content on some websites for other future students to be have help with homework or something. I would recommend you don't do that, but it's totally up to you. But definitely don't post the PDF copies of the chapters, all right? Because I don't have copyrights for the chapters. It's owned by Wiley, and they'll be furious if you post it online. Other than that, other course content, I would recommend you don't post it, but it's totally up to you. There is a second textbook as well. This is a little bit of an advanced course. Those of you who are going to industry and going to be focusing on motor controls as your primary job, you might want to look into the second textbook as well. It's typically covered as an advanced course, 5,000 level course, which has not been offered in the last 2 years, but will hopefully be offered next semester. Okay. Additional materials. Some of you might have heard of this website, cusp.human.edu. So these are recordings, video recordings that were made by Professor Ned Mohan, who passed away last year. He was my own advisor in my PhD. So he has recorded a whole bunch of videos for power electronics, electric drives, power systems, and a whole bunch of other topics. So these are very helpful short videos that you can take a look at it if you're interested. So typically these would be helpful once you graduate, a couple of years down the line, you want to move from one job to another, you've forgotten everything you've learned. You want to quickly remember what was taught in class. Those videos are super helpful, right? So they can be a tool that can be used. And finally, the software, there are two options. We will have some kind of simulation assignments as well going forward. Typically, we use MATLAB, and I hope everybody knows MATLAB, or at least the basics of it, that should be able to get through with it. Those of you who do not have access to MATLAB, I'm assuming all of you do. We do have another platform called Workbench that we have developed in our lab. It's free of cost, and like everything that's free, it's not as good as MATLAB. But in the labs, we will be using Workbench too. So for everything related to power electronics and electric drives, it's more than sufficient. But MATLAB can simulate everything under the sun, and the sun included. So it's not competing with MATLAB in any way, but it's a free tool that you can all download and use it if you want to. So assignments can be done in either of those. Labs will be done using the Assignable Workbench platform. Okay, anybody got any questions so far about the course? Fantastic. So the grading policy, the standard workload for a 3-credit course, it's not too difficult a course. The homework with the lowest grade would be dropped. I would recommend you don't use it till the very end, because if you get 10 all the way through the final homework, you can skip the final homework, and that will be quite helpful because the final week you will have exams, other exams, you'll want to concentrate, so you can skip one homework at the end. So try to do the best on all the initial homeworks. As far as the schedule is concerned for homework, I'm not too strict about it. I usually post a homework on Friday and I set a deadline on Thursday. That's only because I don't want you all to work on a Friday night or, through the weekend. You're all young, so you should be enjoying your life. But if you're like me, who starts the homework on the last day it's due, and you end up having to exceed the time limit that's posted, that's absolutely fine. You can submit on Friday, submit it on a Saturday. Just let the TA or me know that you'll be submitting it a bit late. It's completely okay. I don't want you to stress about the deadline or anything, right? It's not conducive to getting learning experience. So take it easy. If it takes a couple of more days, it's absolutely okay. But just don't make it a habit for your own benefit. Okay, and we split the course equally into 4 segments. So we have homework assignment, which carries 25% of the points. You typically would have around 8 to 10 homeworks in the semester. It'll be every week in the initial part, and after the spring break, we'll go to every other week when the homework get a little bit more involved, where we'll have to do some simulation as well in addition to calculations. As far as the homeworks or exams are concerned, I'm not particular about the final answers. It's always just a step. So if you give me the correct answer but not the steps, you'll get 0. If you give all the steps and the answers are complete garbage, I really don't care. You'll get the full points. All right. You don't have to go through the math. If you have some 4 pi, I'm not particular about you solving what 4 pi is. So you can just leave it as long as you get the concept. So all the grading will be done purely on whether you understood the concept. If you understand the concept, you'll get the points. If you don't, you'll lose the points. As simple as that. So the exams, there are 2 exams, midterm. It would be either before the spring break or after the spring break. I'll let you choose it. If it were up to me, I would have it before the spring break just to get it done and enjoy. But it's totally up to you. So we'll have a poll before the spring break, and whatever the majority chooses, we'll go with it. And the final exam, it's on an odd date. It's on a Saturday, May 10th. Unfortunately, it's out of my hand. The university assigns the dates for the exams, and it's at morning 8 o'clock. I really hate it. But if all of you, I'll put a poll, if all of you unanimously can decide on another date earlier, not a Saturday, later in the afternoon, then we can change it to that time, but it has to be unanimous. Even if one student doesn't work out for the time, unfortunately, the university policy is not to change it, right? So we can figure that out later part. There is a hardware project which carries 25% of the points. So those of you who are doing the lab, it'll be pretty easy. So basically, it'll be a DC motor control. You'll design a DC motor theory of it, and then you'll do control. You'll estimate parameters, and do some kind of speed control on the motor. So that'll be the project. And the final aspect that some of you might be dreading, the first line in class participation, it is not like the surprise test that some faculties give. I don't do that. So relax. It's basically if you ask any question in the class or you give any answer in the class, doesn't matter. There are no wrong questions. There are no wrong answers. As long as you just participate, you get a point, right? So if you can just take a note and pass it around. Each of you, if you ask a question in the class or give an answer, just note down what answer you gave or what question you asked and just drop it in one of the two boxes by the two doors and you'll get a point awarded for it. So the requirement is every 3 classes, 3 lectures, if you ask one question or one answer, you'll get the point. All right. So if you do that for every 3 class just once throughout the semester, you'll get 100 of 25%, the full points available for in-class participation. Right. The question should be related to the subject at hand. If you ask me how to pronounce my name, that doesn't qualify as a question. Right. So it has to be something related to the subject that I'm teaching in the lecture. And if you are a bit shy or hesitant or an introvert, I'm assuming we are all introverts, that's why we are engineers. But if you're an extreme introvert like me and you're not comfortable participating in the class, it's okay. You can come after class, ask me a question. That also qualifies as a point, all right? But I would encourage you to participate in class just so that you get out of your shell. Whatever question you have, I'm sure your other students, your friends are also having the same question. They're just hesitant to ask it. So you be the first one to ask, just show them the way, and everybody will end up participating. And towards the middle of the semester, if still a couple of people are not comfortable participating, I completely understand. I'm not going to force you. I'll put some online polls or something so that you can compensate for the lost in class participation point. All right, but I still want you to take a chance and just give an answer, give a question. As you'll see, there are no wrong answers, wrong questions. These course classes are recorded on Zoom. I'll post it online. And I'll towards the end of the semester, we'll be posting it on the CUS website as well for public access. But at any point, if you're worried about the answer you gave or the question you gave being recorded on video, just let me know. I'll chop that section out. All right, whatever you say in this classroom stays in this classroom. It's not going to leave it, right? So you can be comfortable. You'll face no penalty for what you say in this room, right? Okay, so the grade, we use the standard university grading scale. I don't want anybody stressing about the grade. If you get an A, well and good, that reflects on the effort you put in the course. If you get a bad grade, that just reflects on me as being a bad instructor, not on you. So don't feel bad about it. It's just a letter on your mark sheet, except for a few applications for scholarships or something. It really doesn't matter. Nobody checks your mark sheet, so it's just a letter. Some of you like to have a perfect 4. That's good. But if you get a bad grade, don't swear about it. We also use relative scale in this course. So if there is one student who gets an 100%, you're all doomed. There is no relative there. So the aim of this course must be to make sure your friends all get bad grades. That's the objective. So typically the highest grade in this course has ended up always being around 97, 98. So it really doesn't help that much. You get a 2-point addition. So whoever gets the top score gets converted to 100. Everybody gets just added 2 points or whatever is the difference. Okay, so the final aspect is the course outline. Anybody have any questions on the grading policy, any of those? Right. Yep.
So do we write a question on this post-it or do we just like ask it in class?
You ask it in class and then note it down on post-it with your name.
Okay.
And just drop it on the box. Okay. Just so that we can keep track of who has what questions or what points. Okay. And that question would not qualify as a in-class participation, right? It needs to be subjective, but I appreciate the attempt for getting it started. So yeah, when you write your name, make it legible. And also if your name is quite common, typically use your last name or your first and last would be best. But if your last name is common, use your full name. Otherwise, just the last name should be fine too. Okay. So the homeworks must be done individually. I know friends all join in a group and do homework. That's okay. You can assist your friends, and if they are stuck somewhere, you can tell them, hey, go check this part of the video, or check out this part in the textbook or this material there. But you just can't guide them through every step, right? So if the answers match exactly, I would be required by the department to report it. The first time I'll just call and have a chat with you. But if it happens multiple times, I would be required to report it to the department. The department is extremely strict about it. So just avoid collaborating too much on the homework. And exams are going to be completely open book. Some of you might be quite happy with it, but usually open book exams are more harder than closed textbook. So I wouldn't celebrate too early though. But this is a very easy course, so don't worry about it. So the course schedule, before the spring break, we'll try to concentrate on DC motors, the basics of it. I have posted a poll on Canvas. So every week is organized into this kind of modular structure where there will be the textbook chapters that is going to be part of it. And then some additional reading materials that I post. Additional reading materials are.
Sorry, just going back to what you said about open book. Do we have to print them out or can we have it on our laptop?
Or you can have it on your laptop. You can bring your phone, textbook, notebook, calculator, whatever tool you want.
Okay.
Right? You can bring ChatGPT too. So everything is allowed. And even on the homeworks, you can open and use ChatGPT. Before posting homework, I usually test if ChatGPT can still answer the questions. If it doesn't, I'll put the question. Otherwise, I'll remove the question. You're still welcome to try it. If the answer is correct, I'll give you the points. If the answer is wrong, you'll get 0 for it. And it will likely be wrong. So, but you are welcome to use ChatGPT. It's a very good tool to kind of argue with the software and figure out what the logical thinking behind it is, right? But it gives most of the answers wrong, at least for now. Okay. Anybody else any questions? Okay. So every week is organized into this kind of modular structure, and additional reading material are purely optional. You don't have to read it. It's just like if you have nothing to watch on Netflix until the 3-body problem next season is released, you have something that you can read about. And then notes, I don't usually post notes because I want you to take notes. That's the best way to learn. But for content that are not in the textbook and, it kind of gets a little bit too out of what can be noted down in class, I'll try and post notes on it. All right. Once in a while, I'll do that, but I don't make it a habit. Okay. I posted 2 polls. So if you have any DRC requirement, please post a letter on that poll and I'll take a look at it. This typically if you need extra time. Homeworks, you don't need extra time because the deadline is just arbitrary. You can submit it whenever you want. Until I post the solution, you're open to submit it. So everybody gets extra time on that. On exams, if you need extra time for whatever it be the reason, just get the letter from DRC. Otherwise, I can't because of university's equity policy. I cannot give additional time on the exam unless you have the DRC letter. In addition, I have posted a course poll. Other than that, if you have any other requirements, you have some hearing issues or you can't see well, or you have some other problems that you are not able to sit in the class for too long, whatever be it, just come and let me know and I'll try to accommodate you as best as possible, right? For those if there are international students who have some language problem, who cannot understand me, you want me to go slow, we can always meet after class and I'm more than happy to repeat the whole content again in a much slower fashion, if that helps you, all right? So do not hesitate, just think of me as your peer, not as your instructor or anything. So just be as comfortable as you can in this class. In addition, I've posted a course expectation poll. Please complete that by this Friday so that I can plan what the rest of this course is going to look like. There is a couple of course requirements, prerequisite, but so far looking at the polls, a lot of students are not familiar with the prerequisite like Maxwell's equation, or unfortunately last semester power electronics wasn't offered, so you're not familiar with buck converter. So just let me know honestly what you know, what you don't know. And depending on it, I'll create the course content. The first 3-4 weeks, we'll concentrate heavily on the basics. So we will cover all of those, Maxwell's law and the basics of magnetics, power electronics, all of those we'll cover. So you don't have to worry too much about it, but just how detailed I go into it will depend on what your poll responses are. Even if one student says they don't know the content, we will cover that content, so don't worry about it. So definitely do that by this Friday so that I can go ahead and model the course. Okay, so this is the tentative timeline that we have. So we have initial part, we cover the first quarter, basically the basics, and then the prerequisite that for this course. And then the second quarter, we'll cover the DC motor. We'll look at how to design a DC motor, how it operates, what the characteristic of a DC motors are. And then we'll look at how to design a controller so that we can override some of its characteristic. Right? One of the problems with motor is we want it to rotate at some speed, but depending on the voltage that we apply or depending on the load conditions that we have, the motor speed starts to change. So we want to bring it back to the same speed, or we want to bring it to some particular position or some particular torque. How do we go about controlling or overriding the natural response of the system by designing some kind of controller? And we'll use some kind of power electronics to be able to interface this control algorithm with the actual hardware we have. So we'll cover all of those in the second quarter. And then after spring break, we'll jump into AC motor, the far more exciting part. So we'll cover permanent magnet synchronous motor and we'll cover induction motor. This course is a very basic course, so we'll only introduce the functionality of these motors, how they operate, and we'll touch like cursory control algorithms, which are not used too much in industry. Some industries still do use them. but most of them have gone to vector control, which is an advanced graduate level course, which would likely be offered next semester. But this will be a prerequisite to go and learn that, right? So that's the syllabus. Again, there will be a lab project that's assigned. That will be assigned around spring break, and then it'll be due towards the end of the semester. And then final exam. Again, I'll post a poll to figure out what the date is going to be. Okay. Anybody got any questions on this so far? All right.